This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your me, Louie Tee? Welcome to Lockdown Coverage, week number 12 in the National Football League, AFC East family business. You know how family do it. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, I'm going to let you finish the rest. And so, the New England Patriots going to the Meadowlands to take on a Jets team that, frankly, their season is done. But nothing, and I mean nothing, would make the Jets season like beating the New England Patriots. And so that's what family business is all about. And this was a competitive game. And yes, Ryan Fitzpatrick does give you the best opportunity to win if you're the Jets. But guess what? Your season is done. So why don't you stop with the Ryan Fitzpatrick gives us the best chance to win and just move on? Now, I didn't have a problem with him starting in this game. You know why? You're playing the Patriots. You want to beat the Patriots. I get it. But I think it's time to pull the plug on that and find out what you got for the future. I don't know about you, but you got like 18 quarterbacks on that roster. Pick one. Put one in the game. Bryce Petty, Christian Hackenberg. I don't care. Put one of them in the game. And let's move on and see what you got. That's what it's all about. Let's see what you got. Because this season is done. But for this particular game, yes, I understand why you put in Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yes, he gives you the best opportunity to win. And you had a shot in this game. I'm going to break this thing down here in a second. But first, if you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Seriously, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. Look, man, we're changing the game over here. I want you to be a part of that and help us do so by hitting that red subscribe button to become a subscriber on the Louie Tee Network. Also, I'm on Twitter. @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. Go ahead, follow me on Twitter. Turn on those notifications. That's your most effective way to keep tabs on the Louie Tee Network. Whether I post a new video or I'm going live, either way, you're going to know firsthand if you are a follower of mine on Twitter and you have those notifications turned on. And also, if you just want to chop it up and talk football, that's what I do, man. I love doing that. And the best way to do that as well, Twitter. Also, I'm on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead, give me the thumbs up on Facebook. I'm going to do some exclusive content on Facebook, among other things. Facebook Live, all that good stuff down the road. Don't know when exactly. I was planning on doing it before the end of the season. It may change. I may do it. I may not. We'll see. But eventually, Facebook will be a viable option for exclusive content from my channel. So again, you want to go ahead and get ahead of the curve there and follow me on Facebook. So once again, quick rundown. Follow me on Twitter @InTheLabRoom. Like the Facebook page in the Lab Room. And of course, first and foremost, before you do anything else, you subscribe to the Louie Tee Network on YouTube. All of my social media platforms up above, scrolling across the screen in that middle box so you can't miss any of them while I'm sitting here breaking down this Jets and Patriots football game. So let's talk about this AFC East family business. Why don't we? Look, Dolphins are winning games like they're going out of style, 6 in a row for them. So for the Patriots, this isn't an optional football game here. You don't want to drop to 8-3 and open that door that is slightly ajar. That door is slightly ajar. It's not really that far open. But if you lose this game, it goes from to that door is open now, and the Dolphins are looking to come in, man. So keep those boys at bay by beating a team that's having a rough season in the 3-7 Jets. Let's break this game down. Likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe. You know how we do it here. Start with the road team, that being the New England Patriots, in their first half. Likes. Forced fumble of Robbie Anderson. The Patriots had really nothing going for them in the first half of this game. The Jets were doing a really good job of getting after Brady, making them uncomfortable on offense, and not turning it over. Good for Ryan Fitzpatrick for not turning it over. And so they were actually doing everything that it was going to take for them to win this game. And then Robbie Anderson, after catching the football, having gotten the first down, is still fighting for extra yards. And, you know, Robbie Anderson soaking wet is about $1.65. They reach in the cookie jar and steal the cookies right away from Robbie Anderson. Yum, yum, eat them up. Yum, yum, eat them up. Took the cookies right from him, snatched the ball away. And that was a big play. At that time, Jets were up 10-3 in that ball game. And remember, the Jets jumped out to a 10-0 lead. We'll talk about that in a second. So that turnover gave the Pats an opportunity, and they took full advantage. They would get in the end zone on a Malcolm Mitchell touchdown, and boom, just like that, 10-10 in this ball game after the Jets were ahead 10-0. So that was a huge play by this Patriots defense. They would make another huge play later on in the game. Malcolm Mitchell is on my likes list. I think they might have found something here in the Georgia product. As a rookie, this guy's come in, had an injury to his elbow, has played through that injury, and he is a viable option for Brady. I think he's one of those guys that's going to morph into that David Givens, that Deion Branch, that guy that Brady can rely on at the receiver position out wide. Most of the damage that Brady has done over the last 5 or 6 years of his career has been with slot receivers, going all the way back to Wes Welker. And now, you know, with Gronk and those guys at the tight end position, and with Hernandez when he was there, now having another option in Martellus Bennett. But then you've got the Edelmans and the Amendolas of the world, more slot guys for the most part. You know, you can get Edelman out wide at points, but I think his best work is done in the slot. This is a guy in Malcolm Mitchell that I think can really be an outside target for Brady, the likes of which you haven't seen since Randy Moss. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Randy Moss like he had a Moss out in that 2008 season when the Patriots went 16-0, but I think this is what they thought and envisioned Aaron Dobson would be when they drafted him, or even Josh Boyce to a certain degree out of TCU that didn't work. They were looking for a guy to come in and be the outside, that X receiver, and maybe Malcolm Mitchell is that guy. I really like him. I like a lot of the things I've seen from him, and he was big in this game. They don't win this football game without Malcolm Mitchell's production, and he was huge in the first half, was even bigger in the second half. Really like Malcolm Mitchell, and he's really starting to grow on me as a real viable option out there for the New England Patriots. You go to the Jets and their first half likes in this game. The start to the game was impressive. 10-0. They jumped on the Patriots. They made life hell, and this is my final like for them in the first half. Pressure on Brady. Remember, Brady missed a couple of days of practice with a bum ankle. There was this talk, is he going to play? Come on now, you know he was going to play. Stop your nonsense. And when he practiced on Friday, that was pretty much the final say on that. But he was going to play regardless. And but the fact that he missed a couple of days of practice and that it was a story, let you know that there was a little something going on. They showed the ankle and the brace and all of that stuff. Bottom line is you knew he was going to be even less mobile than he normally is. And Brady already isn't a mobile quarterback. So for him to even be even less mobile than that, that gave the Jets an opportunity to come after him, and that they did. And I thought they were very impressive early on in this game. And not only what they did offensively, Brandon Marshall was getting off. They made some plays. Ryan Fitzpatrick completed the football, made some plays, like I said. But to get after Brady the way that they did and stifle that Patriots offense, they really had some success. And if not for that Robbie Anderson fumble, I don't think the Patriots get in the end zone in the first half of this game. I really don't. They were playing that well defensively. And so I thought that they started the game off the way that they needed to if they were going to have a shot to win 10-0. And then the defense getting off the football and getting to Brady and harassing him the way that they were doing. It was the perfect blueprint, the perfect storm for them to steal this game from the New England Patriots. But as we all know, all good things must come to an end, and eventually they made mistakes, and they showed the reason why they're a 3-8 football team now after the loss in this game. And so they didn't continue to get that pressure on Brady. They didn't continue to play the way that they did when they jumped out to the 10-0 lead. The offense bogged down, and they weren't able to do the things that allowed them to jump onto the Patriots early in this game. But I thought the start to the game and the pressure on Brady were the two things that I really liked for the Jets early in this football game. Let's get to the first half dislikes from both teams. We go back to the Patriots. Gronk's injury. Injured his back. Remember, he was out all week, still dealing with the effects of that lung injury that he sustained versus the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday night a couple weeks back. Didn't play last week versus San Francisco. Didn't know if he was going to play this week. He did. Came out. It seemed like he got free a couple of times. Brady wasn't able to connect with him. Landed awkwardly. And remember, his back has been an issue. The shoulder's been an issue. The elbow's been an issue. Now the lung's an issue. How long is Rob Gronkowski really going to last in this league? He's a big guy, but he hasn't been overly durable throughout his career, has dealt with a number of injuries. The knee, remember he had a vicious, nasty knee injury. He's been a guy that has been a big target. He's such a big guy that it seems like the bigger you are, the more shots you take, and the more teams are able to take and tee off on you. We saw it with Calvin Johnson throughout his career, always dealing with some kind of nagging injury because you're a much bigger target. You're easier to hit. I think Gronk is a guy that may have his career shortened because of all of these different hits that he takes out there for this Patriots football team. But he left the game with a back injury, did not return. Steven Gostkowski misses a field goal in the first half of this game. And look, right before the half to give the Patriots a 13-10 lead potentially. Instead, he misses. And or they might have even been up 13-10 already, and that would have made it 16. Either way, bottom line, I've been talking about Steven Gostkowski all season long and how he's starting to become a little bit of a liability for this Patriots team. Again, I think that they trust him, but don't be surprised if you hear on a Tuesday that the Patriots are working out kickers. I don't know if they're going to make that move in season because it's just starting to get so late into the season. You got to trust that guy, and I think they trust Steven Gostkowski, but he's been really iffy this season, and I've been talking to some Patriots fans, and they're not as confident in him as they've been in the past, and I'm not as confident with him as I've been in the past. He's a guy that's starting to worry me at the field goal kicking position as he misses another kick, missed some extra points this year. Remember, it was his miss last year in the AFC Championship game that was a huge mistake on the part of the Patriots, which made them have to go for two later on in that game, and they ultimately didn't get it, and that was the deciding factor in that game. So Gostkowski has been a source of frustration going all the way back to last season, and he's continuing that with some of the misses this season. So that's something to keep your eye on as well. But you go to the Jets in their first half dislikes in this game. The fumble by Robbie Anderson, I thought it changed the whole tenor of the game. Jets were playing good football. You get that mistake there. Patriots take full advantage. They get in the end zone. And the game was never the same after that Robbie Anderson fumble. And so that was big. That allowed the game to get knotted up at 10. And then you got the Maldine, the fourth injury. He was one of those guys that was helping put pressure on Brady. He came off the field hobbling. I don't think he returned to the game. And so that's another guy that add him to the long list of injuries that this Jets team has sustained all season long, as they haven't been able to stay relatively healthy in this 3-8 campaign thus far. Let's get back to some likes. We go back to the Patriots. Now we're in the second half of this game. The final drive with the touchdown to Malcolm Mitchell, or the go-ahead drive. Let's not call it the final drive because the Patriots would get it back once more and run out the clock. But that drive to take the lead was huge. The Patriots really didn't do much of anything in the second half. I thought the third quarter looked much like the first quarter, where they were kind of stuck in the mud. Jets kind of hung tough, hung in, and actually took the lead late in this ball game. And it was a great catch by Quincy Enunwa to give them the lead. But we all knew Brady was going to come back and bring this team from behind. It was just a matter of not if, but when. And he was able to take them down the field. And it was Brady-esque. One play, he ducks under the pressure and is able to deliver the football. And that's what Tom Brady does. And so he brings them back, throws another touchdown, the second of the game, to Malcolm Mitchell. And I talked about him in the first half. This guy seems like he could be that outside target that Brady's been starving for since the departure of one Randy Moss, excuse me. So I really like Malcolm Mitchell, and that was a huge touchdown that he was able to get. Chris Long with the forced fumble. You've been waiting for Chris Long to make an impact play since you signed him this offseason, and that was a huge play. Came at the perfect time. Forces a fumble of Ryan Fitzpatrick that's recovered by the Patriots, and then they would end up getting that final first down on the ground with LeGarrette Blount to ice this game away and hold on for the 22-17 victory. Big win. And even though the Jets are 3-8 now, it's family business. You can throw the records out of the window. When teams in the division play one another, all bets are off. Records, throw them out the window. They don't matter. These teams know each other well, and you knew the Jets were going to come and put their best foot forward and try to beat the Patriots, and they gave it a run, but they made too many mistakes against the Patriots team that you can't afford to make those types of mistakes. The Robbie Anderson fumble, the Fitzpatrick fumble at the end, those were costly, and it hurt this Jets football team. You go to the Jets likes in the second half, and I only have one. It's the Enunwa touchdown grab. Great throw by Fitzpatrick. Even better catch by Enunwa. And I could even throw Fitzpatrick in there. I thought he played a solid game. He didn't turn it over. 2 touchdown tosses in this game. I thought Fitzpatrick was solid. And again, he gives you the best chance to win. But at some point, you have to say, all right, we understand that you're our best option, but we also have to look towards the future. You're not going to be here next year. We're not going to re-sign you next season. We're going to throw one of these young boys in there now and see what we got. So I think that's what you need to do if you're the Jets. You need to start thinking about the future because Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't it. And you already know you're not making the playoffs and you're not going to win enough games to qualify. So what are we doing here? Okay, now there's 5 games left in the season. You're 3-8. Your season's done. Let's find out what you got moving forward. I think that's what you need to do. But Quincy Enunwa is definitely a keeper, and he's opened my eyes because, again, I just looked at him as a blocking wide receiver for the duration of his career. And this year he's had a breakout campaign catching the football. He's another one of these guys. Even in a losing season, you can start to find building blocks on your football team. Enunwa looks to be one of those guys that moving forward is going to be someone that you can rely on offensively to get the football to and know that he's a hard worker, going to block, going to do all the little dirty things that you need to have done at the receiver position, really like Quincy Enunwa. Had another great touchdown grab in this ball game. So we go from the likes to the dislikes in the second half. We go back to the Patriots, and it's not getting a 2-point conversion. James White got to get that football inside the pylon there. Again, kind of a concentration lapse of sorts. You get your feet in, which that's great, but it doesn't matter if the ball doesn't come along with the feet. Ball stayed on the opposite side of the pylon as he went out of bounds. No 2-point conversion. That could have come back and haunted this Patriots team had the Jets gotten the football into the end zone. Those 2 points would have cost them this game. So again, need to be a little bit smarter there and make sure that you get the football, not your feet, but the football over the goal line because that's what actually matters. And finally, the Jets and their second half dislikes, not getting critical stops at the end of the game. I thought the defense played so well for really 3.5 quarters of this football game because if you think the fumble by Robbie Anderson really cost them a touchdown in the first half, and then you look at the second half, they stopped the Patriots cold essentially in the third quarter. The fourth quarter, you do enough to allow the Jets offense to come and take the lead with the Enunwa touchdown, and then you give it right back to Brady, and then you get one more opportunity. Fitzpatrick turns it over. Okay, well, get the stop and at least get the football back to your offense once more, and you give up the big run to LeGarrette Blount on 3rd and 2 to salt this game away. And so just not getting the critical stops late in the game was back-breaking for this Jets defense. Again, much like I talked about with the Panthers, these are the types of games the Jets found a way to win last season. I mean, you even beat the Patriots in a similar fashion last year with a Decker touchdown late, and that's just not, or what that might have been the Giants. But in any event, you were finding ways to win these types of games last year, and this is what you're doing this year. You're finding ways to lose these types of games. And then the fumble by Fitz late. Again, you'd like that to not happen, but it happened, and that's why the Jets are 3-8. I mean, let's face it, they're 3-8 for a reason, and it's because of in these crucial moments of the ball game, they're making these types of huge mistakes. So, with that being said, Patriots get the win. Brady gets his 200th win of his career. Congratulations to Tom Brady, first ballot Hall of Famer. Obviously, one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback of all time, notches his 200th victory of his career. Regular season and postseason combined. He's going to be the winningest quarterback in NFL history when it's all said and done. And it's really been fun to watch him and Belichick do what they've done over the years. And 200 wins. Wow, that is a lot of wins indeed. And he's still not done. A lot more wins coming his way before his season or career is all said and done. They get the W, though, 22-17. They go to 9-2 on the season. Keep pace with the Oakland Raiders, who are also 9-2 for the best record in the AFC. Meanwhile, the Jets drop to 3-8. And like I said, their season's done, right? So let's go ahead and figure out what the next chapter is at the quarterback position. You got 2 of them sitting there on the bench. Figure out which one is the one you want to move forward with. If that's Bryce Petty, fine, put him in, leave him in. If it's Christian Hackenberg and you think he's ready, go ahead and throw him in there and toss him a bone and see what happens. But at this point now, we know Fitzpatrick isn't going to be the guy moving forward. So why are you wasting time running in the same place over and over with the same guy? Let's get out of the mud and let's start running on actual field. And let's see if you can't get the ball rolling for a start on the 2017 season. So let's see. Let's see if you guys got any comments. Captain Spartan 04 says, how has my cards looking? Calvin Pryor, Bilal Powell, and Lorenzo Maldine. Maldine got hurt today. He was playing well before he got injured today, actually. Bilal Powell, I love him. I told you he's one of the most underrated backs in the league. And Calvin Pryor has been good in spurts. He's got his moments where he plays really well, and then he's got his moments when he doesn't. I like Calvin Pryor a lot, and I think he's going to be a really good safety in this league. So your Cardinals have been playing really well for this Jets football team, but with that being said, that's the only comment. I'm going to let you guys get back to the Sunday night game as I will, and then we'll be back here to break down the Sunday night game on Sunday Night Football Overtime. Enjoy that game. You know how we do it. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on lockdown coverage. Patriots get it done. Go to 9-2 with a 22-17 victory. Jets drop to 3-8 on the season. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. Get back to Sunday Night Football. I'll see you at the end of Sunday Night Football as we'll break it all down here on the Louie Tee Network. Until then, have a good one. Enjoy the rest of the game. I'll see you afterwards.